course of my career, and I've always prided myself on being prepared for any eventuality. But something new always happens, and when it was time to finalize our arrangements with Lance, he was in Senegal, which was in and of itself hard enough. He was there in connection with the terrific work he does for Basketball Without Borders. But as if that wasn't hard enough, on the day that we were actually trying to finalize our arrangements, there was a telecommunications strike. So that added to the difficulty. And unfortunately, we were not able to hook them up with you folks back when we first announced this. So it is an honor to be here today and to introduce you to him, and once again, perseverance, I guess, pays off. This is Lance's time, and I'm going to turn it over to him in a minute, but I did want to say a couple of things by way of introduction. I told you that my first order of business here and the highest priority would be finding a general manager. And in connection with that process, there were kind of really three criteria that we focused on. First, we wanted what I described as a basketball genius, and if any of you have ever wondered what a basketball genius looks like, here he is. We wanted a first-rate talent evaluator, someone who's really in the forefront and the vanguard of understanding scouting processes and analytics, and how to evaluate players both from an objective and subjective point of view. The second criteria really was, second of the criteria really was someone that I knew would be a great cultural fit here. I've already said publicly any number of times, and I'm sure we'll repeat many times in the future, that the culture of the Phoenix Suns is of utmost importance to me to continue the sustained excellence that we've had here. So we were looking for someone of the highest personal and professional qualities, someone who, a man of integrity, a man who was trustworthy, hardworking, and had those personal qualities. And the third criteria really was, third of the criteria really was someone who was associated with winning, because that's what it's ultimately all about here. And I think getting someone from a winning environment was absolutely critical. And we took our time, we did our due diligence, and I'm absolutely confident that we've settled on the perfect choice in Lance Blanks. And he has been a player, was Mr. Basketball in Texas in 1985. In 1990, he led the University of Texas to the Elite Eight. He was a first-round draft choice, played in the league for a few years, won championships overseas, and has been associated with winning programs in both San Antonio, where they won 2 championships, and in Cleveland, where they've had obviously tremendous success over the last couple of years. So he met all of our criteria, aced them across the board, and it is really a distinct honor and a privilege for me to introduce him to you as our new general manager.
Thanks, Lon. That introduction, I don't know how it can go from any more positive, so it's probably downhill from here. But first off, I mean, you don't get to this point without the support of a lot of people, starting with the San Antonio Spurs, where I spent 5 wonderful years. Peter Holt, the owner there, and Greg Popovich, who you know well, Alvin, and that group. Just tremendous years for me. And then, of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers and Dan Gilbert, working closely with Danny Ferry and Chris Grant and those guys. It's just been an amazing ride for me. So I owe a lot of thanks to them getting to this point. And of course, mentors like Greg Popovich and Joe Dumars and R.C. Buford and Danny, and some of the conversations that we've shared all of that came together and has afforded me the opportunity that presented itself. I'm also extremely grateful to Robert Sarver and you, Lon, for taking the chance on myself. This is a lifetime and a first-time opportunity for me to sit in a seat like this, and I'm incredibly honored to take over the reins with Lon and try to lead this organization. I don't know how you can do it, but hopefully to higher ground. I guess the only thing that this organization has not accomplished is that of a championship. So it's accomplished just about everything else you can accomplish in the NBA. So hopefully I can be a part of taking it to higher ground. So with that, I won't ramble much more than that. I'll open it up for questions. But thank you all for being here. And again, thank you, Lon, and thank you all.
Lance, have you had a chance to evaluate this roster and familiarize yourself with the personnel, and what is your first order of business as you move forward with the team?
I've loosely evaluated. This is literally my second day on the job. A lot of my time over the past few days and weeks have been spent overseas, so I'm aware of the roster from the standpoint that anyone would be aware of an NBA roster, starting with Steve Nash and not only what he's meant to the league, but to this organization, young guys like Dudley. But I haven't done a deep dive, and of course, it's hard to do from afar. So there are sure a lot of things that I'll get to learn over the next few days and weeks and months about the personnel. First order of business for me really is to learn the organization. The support staff, I've heard nothing but wonderful things about everyone in this organization, from side to side, top to bottom, however you want to look at it. And all of my experiences have been extremely positive. I know, just having worked in the background, how important the support staff is for the guys on the court. So part of my first order of business is learning the support staff, and then the players themselves, just getting to know people. I think with the background here and what's happened historically, it's pretty obvious that there's a great infrastructure in place to have success. So part of my job will be staying out of the way and not messing this thing up.
What do you think of the style of play that's been played here? Because it's very different from the places you've come from.
Correct. Yep. It is a different style. I know Alvin has started to institute defense around here. They're saying that a lot more. So I love the way that this team and organization has played, even over the years, getting up and down the floor. It's an exciting brand of basketball, and very entertaining. And you know, I know that it's been extremely successful. So this team is you know, a lot closer to winning and being successful than it is not being successful. So I'm not so sure that there's a lot that needs to be tweaked in terms of the style of play and the brand of basketball.